Alright, so here we go. We're picking up. We've already armed the autopilot. It's ready to take over the aircraft when we command it to. We're going to go ahead and set the aircraft up for takeoff now. Like I said, I'm getting all these numbers from the flight manual I emailed you. For our given takeoff weight of 124,000 pounds today, we're going to need flaps 5, roll the auto brake to RTO. V1 is going to be 123 knots. VR rotate at 125 knots, and V2 is 130 knots. We've got the aircraft trimmed for takeoff, ready to go. You will typically do all this during your taxi from the gate to your departure runway. You will also do a departure brief, which is tell yourself everything you need to know for your departure, because whenever you depart, it's really busy. You're going to be cleaning up the aircraft, putting your gear up, your flaps up. You're going to be turning to headings, following air traffic control orders. So you want to make sure, that's one reason why you want to make sure you have the autopilot arm. That way it's a simple push of 2 buttons, push command alpha, push speed. The airplane's flying itself. It reduces your pilot workload. It enables you to follow your course. It enables you to comply with ATC instructions, things like that. So it's a real time saver going ahead and arming your autopilot. So we've got our speed set, 83% in 1. For the departure, I'm going to hand fly this aircraft, so I'm actually going to just set this anyways as a reference to remember to accelerate to 83% in 1. And like I said, a lot of this is easier demonstrated than talked about, so I'm going to try and let the video do a lot of the talking. I apologize if I've been talking really fast or trying to cram this in, but let's just go ahead and do this. I'll show you how it works. So we're ready for departure. We're going to release the brakes. We're going to roll the throttles up to 40% M1 and let them stabilize. And all these M1 numbers are real rough figures. They're general numbers. They're nothing hard and fast. So the throttles are coming up to 40% M1. It can be, 35, 45, somewhere in there. You just want to get them stabilized. That way when you give it power, they'll bite. So we're going to go ahead and look down the runway. We're watching our speed out here to the right. We're going to go ahead and bring these throttles up to 83% M1. And like I said, it's not a hard and fast figure. You can be right around that area. So there's roughly 83% M1. It seems kind of slow, but it'll work. Okay, there's 80 knots. V1, rotate. So we're going to rotate. And we're pitching up. And we're waiting for the positive rate of climb. There it is. Gear's going up. Going to pitch for about 180 for the climb speed. Like I said, I'm in control of the aircraft right now. The autopilot is not doing anything. We're looking for 1,500 feet AGL. That's our acceleration altitude, which is where we'll pitch down and allow the aircraft to accelerate. We'll track the flaps on schedule. There's 1,500 feet. So we're actually pitching down just a couple of degrees to let the aircraft accelerate to 235 knots. And we're also going to give the autopilot command of the aircraft. So all you got to do is look over here, command alpha, speed, take your hands off the controls, and the airplane is flying itself. Real simple. Now remember how we armed it on the ground? We went on ahead and set the vertical speed to 1,800 feet per minute to climb and maintain 6,000 feet, which is what clearance delivery gave us. So if you look down here on your PFD, the aircraft is going to pitch for 1,800 feet per minute, and it will get there eventually. Like I said, it's really slow. And it's going to target for 6,000 feet. There's our brakes warning, so we can go ahead and roll auto brakes to RTO. As you can see, our course is over here on DFW. We're heading straight. It's because ATC gave us the order to, after departure, fly runway heading. So we want to go ahead and fly to our first waypoint, which is the Triple T VOR. So we can either do one of two things. We can either go ahead and hit VOR lock in the GPS mode and the aircraft will automatically track toward it, or we can manually turn a heading. For demonstration purposes, I'll show you how to turn via a heading. So as you can see, the aircraft is going to maintain 235 knots. We've retracted the flaps to 0 on schedule. We're coming up on 6,000 feet. The aircraft will maintain everything that you put up here in the MCP. So we're going to go ahead and begin our left turn because there's Dallas-Fort Worth off our left wing. So we're going to go ahead and begin our left turn. There's no real set heading right off the bat. Just start a left turn. And as you can see, the airplane automatically pitches to the left, rolls to the left, excuse me. And it's going to try and intercept a heading of, we'll say 210. And what you're doing is you're turning left when you're getting ready to intercept your outbound leg out of the Dallas area to Austin. Meanwhile, the autopilots continue to fly the aircraft. It's maintaining roughly 235 knots. Like I said, the autopilot's slow, so it's going to be, you know, roughly 235 knots. It's maintaining 6,000 feet. And as you can see, our heading at 210 is not going to be quite enough to get us on course. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that heading down a little farther. And you would typically, on your departure, you're typically going to be rolling into your heading select, whatever ATC tells you. ATC will tell you something like, Southwest 5147, turn left heading 230. Well, you're going to say, turn left heading 230, Southwest 5347. And you'll actually roll in the heading of 230. But in this case, I'm just showing you how the autopilot reacts to your inputs. So as you can see on the navigation display, we've roughly lined up with our next course. And so what we can do is we can ensure that we're in the GPS mode, since we're going to be tracking a GPS course. And we can hit VOR lock, which will deselect the heading selector and enable VOR lock. And what this will do is this will tell the aircraft to track the next GPS course all the way toward the destination. So the airplane's going to automatically track the outbound course from the Triple T VOR, and it's going to give you DME distance to the next waypoint, which in this case I believe is the CWK VOR. So it's 80.3 DME or 80.3 miles to the next VOR. So we got a little ways to go, not a problem. Like I said, I'll shoot this video in 3 parts. I'm trying my best not to rush through it. I apologize if I am or if I'm not making myself very clear. This is actually the first time I've helped somebody learn something on the flight simulator. So we're looking good. We're still tracking 6,000, 235 knots. Like I said, the autopilot is slow, so you can go ahead and accelerate to 250 knots if you would like. And let's go ahead and say ATC gave us the order to climb, maintain 10,000. Okay, not a problem. We set 250 knots in the autopilot, and it'll slowly, like I said, you can see it's just creeping up there. That's why if you'd rather be slow and accelerate to a given speed than fast and decelerate to a given speed. So ATC told us climb, maintain 10,000 feet. We're going to select 10,000 feet in the autopilot altitude select window. But as you can see, it's still holding 6,000 feet, even though it's got 10,000 feet selected in the speed tape. The reason is you've got to tell the aircraft what rate of climb or rate of descent you want to get to the targeted altitude. So we've targeted 10,000 feet, and we'll climb at, okay, we'll say we'll climb at 2,100 feet per minute. So you've selected 2,100 feet per minute, 10,000 feet in the select window. The aircraft pitches for 2,100 feet. It's climbing for the target altitude of 10,000 feet. It's really slow accelerating, which you've got to watch it, because if you select something like 3,500 feet per minute climb, you could stall the aircraft. Obviously bad. If you're more comfortable with it, you could actually disengage the auto throttles. The autopilot will still target your vertical speed, your altitude, your headings, your courses, your things like that, but the throttles are totally under your command. If you want to go to idle, you just reach up, bring them back to idle. If you want to go full power, you just reach up and put throttles at full power. I believe Southwest Airlines does not have auto throttle on their aircraft. I'm not 100% sure. You may want to double check on that. Actually, I'm a little curious, so I will too. We're going to go ahead and re-engage the auto throttles to maintain 250 knots. So as you can see, it's climbing for 10,000 feet. The GPS selector is actually tracking our GPS course to our next waypoint, which is actually, I lied, it's not CWKVOR, it's Windu intersection. So we're 66 miles from Windu intersection. And we just continue following ATC instructions. ATC tells you climb, maintain, let's say 15,000. Select 15,000 in the window. Whatever rate of climb you want to get there, and it will do it. As you can see, I know I haven't talked about the flight director a lot. The autopilot is pitching for whatever the flight director tells the aircraft it's going to need. You can follow the flight director even if the autopilot is disengaged. Matter of fact, I'll show you. If you disengage the autopilot and leave the flight directors on, it will tell you what pitch attitude you need to be at to maintain the rate of climb that you have selected, which in this case is 21. So, like I said, these little black wings are essentially the wings of the aircraft, and this is the line you want to fly. So, let's say I level off. So I'm hand flying the aircraft. The throttles are still under autopilot's command. We're at auto throttle. So as you can see, the aircraft is still looking for the 15,000 foot mark at a climb rate of 2,100 feet per minute. It's going to tell you, hey, pitch to here. So it's simple. You just pitch the aircraft back to the bars, and the bars will move based on what speed you have. As you can see, we're decelerating, so the bars should actually, okay, they're going to descend to maintain that speed. Oh, actually, I'm actually climbing at a rate faster than 2,100 feet per minute. So you just, if you're hand flying the aircraft, just follow whatever the flight director tells you to, and you can basically hand fly the aircraft to whatever you have the autopilot set to. Re-engage the autopilot, and I will go ahead and end this video, and we will pick up. I'll go ahead and make this a 4-part video because I feel like I'm running through this really quick and making it complicated. So if you didn't understand this, I'll work on this next part, which will be the climb from 15,000 to 25,000 feet. I'll slow down and explain things a little more. Hopefully you understand this. I apologize if this is really cluttered up, but we'll see you in part 3.